Italy was the first country outside Asia to experience COVID. It was the first country to order a lockdown on March 9, 2020. The picture of Italian army trucks transporting dead bodies in Bergamo is etched into our collective memory. The northern provinces of Brescia, Lodi, and Cremona also suffered deeply. Local newspapers were printed cemeteries, overflowing with death notices, and every single day another acquaintance or friend died. Crema, where I was born and still live, was a ghost town for 2 months. People were in a state of anguish, but they stayed home. In May 2020, Italy cautiously reopened. Limited exercise and athletic activity was allowed, outdoors, and then came visits to one's family, partners, and lovers. Stable affections was the government's terminology, which triggered a national debate on what made affections stable rather than otherwise. Factories and construction firms went back to work. A few days later, amid jockeying and corner-cutting, so did shops, cafes, and restaurants. Schools remained closed, for who knows what reason. Masking remained obligatory. We all wore light blue reminders on our faces of what had happened, of what must not happen again. Italy went through a process that was reproduced over varying timelines in every other country hit by the virus. First, underestimating the danger. Then, disbelief, anxiety, and lockdown. Then the reactions. Wisecracks and memes on our smartphones, mood swings, the reassurance of the national anthem. By then we had understood. The fight was going to be a long-distance race. So we started running. In Crema, the hospital was overwhelmed by patients, many of them in critical condition, in desperate need of intensive care. The Italian army built a field hospital in the parking lot in just a few days. The 52-member medical brigade, made up of doctors and nurses, arrived from Cuba to help us. For the entire month of April, ambulance sirens filled the air. All around were blue skies, flowering trees, and the most beautiful springtime in many years. Now that all these things have become memories, we can finally say it. We survived. I described some of these things in the New York Times. The headline was, "How Italy Coped and Will Keep Coping." We finally had confirmation of that fact, after a criminally distracted summer, in fall and winter before the national vaccination campaign. It wasn't just a battle, it was a full-blown war, filled with anxiety and grief and resulting in more than 5 million cases and 140,000 deaths, though the numbers are probably much higher. 60 million people, all told, did follow the rules. Surprisingly, considering our reputation for lack of self-discipline. But is it really so surprising? In Italy, we don't respect or ignore rules the way people do elsewhere. We take it as an insult to our intelligence to be expected to follow a regulation without first having thoroughly argued the fine points. Any regulation at all, be it legal, moral, social, or tax or traffic-related. Blind obedience is considered beneath us. We want to make up our minds about whether a given rule should apply to our specific case. Once we've come to the conclusion that it does apply, we obey it. Faced with the threat of the virus, we decided that the lockdown made good sense, and we complied. It wasn't a collective decision. It was the cumulative result of millions of individual decisions. We succeeded in part because we had the social and psychological resources to do so. Realism, resilience, inventiveness, the support of extended families, an instinct for altruism and generosity, at times bordering on the exhibitionistic. We were aided by the fact that we were a sociable people. The internet provided new tools that came in handy during the emergency. Personal and family ties, the importance of which has produced a great deal of second-rate writing and opining around the world, but that nonetheless should not be underestimated, proved crucial. Men cooked, cleaned house, and tidied their rooms as they'd never done before. If they had children, they spent more time with them. Every mother turned into a school teacher, adding that task to all her others. Friends pitched in and helped one another out. Aperitifs on Zoom or on balconies didn't go on for long. But the strength and the patience that we displayed, after we put down our drinks, were surprising.